Well, guys, I come with some disappointing news today about the PS6, which they haven't really launched an official release date for the PS6. I'm hoping it's not for a little while, considering I'm kind of enjoying my PS5 a bit more, but there's some bad news I've heard with the upcoming PS6 that is going to come out, who knows when, but apparently there's going to be no disk drive in the thing. Yes, that's right, no disk drive, so any games that you've had on previous consoles that were on disk will no longer be able to be played on the new gen consoles. You'll still be able to play them on your old gen, of course, but of course, the PS6, you won't be able to put any discs in it. Even if you wanted to watch some Blu-ray movie or something, you won't be able to watch it on the PS6 because there'll be no disk drive, which is absolutely wonderful, but, you know, it's just like, it reminds me of when iPhone got rid of the headphone jack, basically. But this is like, I'd say this is probably even worse because it's like a lot of these old games we're not going to be able to play on the new console anymore because we might have had one of our older consoles that may have ended up bricked or something, and maybe you want to try it out on a new console. And this is really disappointing for me considering I have a lot of older games on like PS3, and I have a current PS3 right now that's broken and everything. I'm not able to play PS3 games right now, so that's really disappointing for me considering like I've been wanting to play a lot of these old games on PS3 that I have on disc, and I won't be able to play them on the next gen console when it comes out. So it's really disappointing for me, you know. It's making me be like, yeah, I'm probably gonna wait a little bit to get the next gen console if it does come out soon, you know, because of reasons like this. It's like, you know, if we can't play a lot of these older gen games that we have on disc, it's like, wow, man. I mean, PS3, there was a lot of games actually people bought back then, you know, an Xbox 360 that were on disc and everything, and you know, a lot of people would like to play these games again that they have on disc instead of having to buy them through the store again or something and then re-download them, or just play some like streaming of it or something, because you know, it's really disappointing having to go through all that, you know, and you could just pop in a disc and there you go. Because this is one thing I liked about PS3, like at least certain versions of it, I believe it was the old fat version of it, that you could actually play older gen games on it. You could play PS2 games on it because it had a PS2 memory chip in it that it would go through to save your data and everything. And I mean, they've said some of those games might be able to be downloaded in full on the PlayStation Store on the next gen console, which I'm hoping they make all the older gen games available to download. I don't know if they'll do them all, but I'm hoping they do all of them considering, you know, the big selection we get. But I mean, you'd have to pay to re-download them again and everything, and that would suck, of course, because I do have a lot of PS3 games that are on disc. In fact, most of mine are probably on disc from back then, and I have a lot on PS4 that are on disc as well. Even some on PS5 that I have are on disc. You know, I got Battlefield 6 on there, which I haven't really played much of recently, but that one's on disc. I have a few others like Sackboy's Big Adventure I have on there, which, I mean, that game was alright. It's not my favorite game in the Little Big Planet series by any means, but I mean, I guess it's alright. But the reason they're doing this is apparently because it costs them too much money, because too much people are downloading their games digitally now, which is really disappointing, and that surprises me, you know, because, you know, I like still getting games on disc and everything, because it's like, what if somehow something happens to your PSN account or something, you have to get a new account. I mean, your data would be lost and everything, but at least you'd still have the game and you wouldn't have to rebuy it or any of that stuff, you know. But there's actually a petition you can look at. I'll link it in the description of this video, but you can sign a petition to actually get PlayStation to implement a disc drive into the PS6, which I'm really hoping they change their minds on, but it's all but confirmed basically at this point that PS6 won't have a disc drive, which is really disappointing for a lot of people, including myself, who've wanted to play some of these older gen games on the, you know, next gen console, because I've heard a lot about backwards compatibility and everything. There's been a lot of rumors for it, but hearing this is really disappointing because I was hoping to just pop a disc in from one of my older consoles and play it, but I guess that may not happen now, considering the recent news that I've just been seeing all over Facebook and everything and all over the internet. So, but honestly anymore, it's like I'm kind of, you know, getting less interested in a lot of the new gen consoles, you know, because it's nothing like it was during like the PS3 and even PS4 days, or, you know, Xbox 360 and Xbox One days, you know, because back during those days, like, there was a lot of actually new cool things going on, like the online gaming experience. I mean, it didn't start during the time, but it was really improved and upgraded during the time, you know, better servers during the time. It wasn't just, you know, LAN and stuff like that, because that's like the first online play, but like, You know, there was online play on PC, of course, but you know, PS3 and Xbox 360, it's like they really expanded on the online gaming experience. And in fact, you know, that was actually my first online gaming experience was on PS3, you know. And you know, back during those days, I played so many games online on that console, like there's countless. I played so much Call of Duty. I played MotorStorm a lot, my favorite racing game of all time. I played that a lot online. I played Need for Speed, you know, there were so many games I played, you know. And, you know, PS3 is still the most memorable console for me and my favorite console that's ever been released, even though I've literally probably had like 5 of them because I've had so many of them brick on me. But, like, the games are so worth playing, and especially back then when, you know, the online gaming experience on the PS3 was at its peak and everything. And, you know, everyone had either PS3 or Xbox 360 because, you know, this was before the new gen consoles. But, you know, the games on PS3 were so great. And I imagine a lot of people on Xbox 360 really enjoyed Halo as well, you know, because Halo was really popular. And, you know, I played Halo a bit with some of my cousins who had Xbox during the time, and I really enjoyed that. So, you know, that time for online gaming, I think, was the best during those days. Even if back in 2009, you know, some of us didn't have the best internet and we got, you know, a really laggy connection that would disconnect from the server a lot of the time because of how shitty internet was for some people back then compared to now. But, you know, those were some great times I had on PS3 for sure. And I made so many, like, PSN friends back then that I used to play with and everything. I still have a lot of them added on my PSN and everything. And of course, you know, PS3 was the first console to have Blu-ray discs as games. You know, they used Blu-ray for a lot of their games, which, you know, Xbox 360 didn't have. But like PS3, you could get games in Blu-ray, you know, full HD and everything, which was, you know, the first console to really do that. I mean, certain things are innovative now, like VR's really advanced and everything, and that's, you know, an advancement. I mean, with VR, I kind of get dizzy playing it. I get really uncomfortable, like my head ends up hurting after playing VR, so I really can't play VR for too long. I enjoy it once in a while, but like I can't really play VR for too long because of, you know, the physical like pain I get in my head after playing it for so long, which is why I prefer console still, and, you know, or PC or something like that. But, you know, it's a pretty cool experience though. But, you know, it's like newer gaming is nothing like it used to be. Like the games were so much better back then. There was a lot more innovation going on that I was really interested in during the time. I mean, there's some new games like this game I'm playing here, Doom: The Dark Ages, that I really enjoy, and I've been playing the hell out of this game. But, you know, a lot of new games nowadays, even, it's nothing like they used to be back during PS3 days and even PS4 days. You know, there's a lot of games I enjoyed in PS4. Like, I enjoyed Need for Speed Rivals. I enjoyed Battlefield 4 for sure. And there was a lot of indie games I even enjoyed back then, like Binding of Isaac and Don't Starve. But still, you know, with the whole disc drive thing not being with PS6, you know, it makes me not want to buy as much, you know, even if the console would be a little bit less without the disc drive, you know. I'd still buy it with the disc drive, to be honest. I wouldn't mind paying a little extra money if it is a little extra money, you know. If I could play all my old games on that console, you know, it'd give me more incentive to buy it. But considering they're getting rid of it, you know, it makes me not want to buy it as much, or at least not want to buy it until way later on, you know. But yeah, it's my thoughts on this whole thing. Yeah, let me know what your guys' thoughts are on PS6 potentially removing the disc drive, and I'll link the petition in the description for you guys to sign to actually keep the disc drive. And yeah, I will catch you guys later. Peace out.